TVS right now truly has the opportunity to disrupt the 150cc scooter segment, and that is because they have a new contender with a familiar name, the Ntorq 150. Now, it's a little hard to imagine that it's been over 7 years since the Ntorq 125 was first launched, but now we finally have a bigger Ntorq, a 150cc one, and the 125 is still on sale, but today it's all about the 150 and if it can challenge the 150 to 160cc segment scooters. Well, I've ridden this on TVS's own test track here. It's a limited testing, but I will tell you how the scooter is to ride, what I like about it, what I don't, and if this could truly disrupt the market like the Ntorq 125 did. As always, if you've not subscribed to our channel, make sure that you hit that red button and also switch on the notifications. Also, we've already done a walk around of the Ntorq 150, so there are basic details about the dimensions, about the engine specs and the features that you get in that video. If you want, you can check that out. Today, I will just focus on talking about how the ride experience was. So let's just cut to the chase and talk about how the scooter is to ride. And this 150cc engine, even though on paper it's not that impressive because one, it's air cooled, it's just 3 valves and it's not the most powerful. It's there or thereabouts, but it's not the most powerful. But despite all of that, this I think is one brilliant engine, and that is not just because it's fast, that it definitely is out on the track. I was doing 60-70 in a matter of seconds. I did not even realize the official 0 to 60 time is 6.3, but when you're riding it, you do not realize how quickly you can get to 70 or 80 if you have an open stretch of tarmac. And once you do get to 80, then is where the engine truly shines, because two things happen. First, you realize that the engine is not under any kind of stress. With my weight, I could easily cruise at 85 without any hiccup, and the scooter was absolutely happy at that speed. The second thing that you realize is that there are virtually no vibrations. Even if you're doing 55, then there are absolutely no vibrations, and that is something which I really appreciate, that the motor is so refined. A lot of times we'll see these performance-oriented scooters which are just too jerky in terms of their throttle input, that are just too vibey, and it just kind of takes away from the experience. Well, not this one. You do have 2 ride modes, and no matter which one you pick, the scooter performs really well. And like I said, there are no vibrations. And one more thing which I really like is the accelerator calibration, that you get brisk acceleration, but at no point is it an on-off kind of situation wherein, let's say you're doing 60 and you maybe let go of the accelerator just a little, so it's not going to throw you forward. It's very mellow, it's very nice, it's very much like a commuter in that sense, that it prioritizes a lot of the comfort factors while also being pretty fast. Another thing which helps the pursuit of speed in this scooter is the iGo system, which basically means that the battery helps with the torque delivery, and it basically boosts the torque so that you have a nice response. Now, this mode is only available if you are in the race mode. So if you are in the street mode, then you don't get that battery assist. For reference, the power figure is 13 bhp and 14.2 Newton meters is the torque figure, out of which 0.7 is what the battery helps it achieve. If you do not have the battery charge, then that you can subtract. But like I said, the scooter feels really fast, and changing the ride mode is also very easy thanks to this 4-way switchgear, and also means that you can easily navigate the 5-inch color TFT display very easily. It's very much like the RR310 and the RTR310. All you have to do is press the up button and it changes from one mode to the other, and you can do it on the fly, which is also great. And the screen itself is also very nice. The graphics are so modern, it's so vibrant, it's so crisp. It undoubtedly probably is the best non-touch screen that you can get with a scooter in this segment. That's my personal opinion. Also, TVS has given you some very nice racy bits like this exposed handlebar and the ability to adjust the brake lever. So that is also quite appreciated. That is nice, will help you feel a little more engaged with the ride underneath you. As for the brakes, you have a disc at the front with single channel ABS. Rear is still just a drum, but the braking, it's not sharp but that's not really a problem, I would say, because yes, you have to squeeze the brake a little bit, but the scooter does come to a steady and a confident halt. So once again, it's about prioritizing comfort, even though this is a pace-oriented scooter. So the brakes do have a good response. They do bring you to a halt quite nicely and in a safe manner. You also have panic brake alert, which means the blinkers will start flashing in case you brake from a very high speed and come down to almost zero. So that is also there. There is, however, traction control on this, which means that in case you find yourself in a slippery situation, then the scooter will take care of not slipping from underneath you. Again, my belief is that usually vehicles of this capacity do not really require traction control, but it's nice to have this additional safety feature. Now, since we talked about traction, I also have to mention the tires, because in a somewhat disappointing move, I would say TVS did not opt for bigger 14-inch tires on this. They've gone with the same 12-inch tires that you find in the 125, which on paper sounds bad, but TVS says that they have done this to keep the agility of the scooter. And to their credit, out on the track, the scooter did feel quite nice. It felt very agile, and even while doing 70-80, it did not feel very unstable or uncharacteristically bad. Yes, the 14-inch wheels would have looked nicer, would have given you more stability, more confidence around the corners, but this also is quite functional for normal everyday use. The suspension setup is softer than some other two-wheelers I've ridden in past few days, and that I think is really good. Yes, it's not an out-and-out stiff suspension like you would get on maybe an Aprilia or something like that, but this one I think is pretty good, because a lot of people, even though this is a performance scooter, will be riding it in the city, which are full of potholes, and there you do need a more absorbent ride. And that, even though the tarmac here is mostly quite smooth, but there are some imperfections in the road, there are some bumps in the corners, and that made me realize that this could potentially be one of the more absorbent suspension setups out there in the market, which I really appreciate. Now, in terms of the other scooters in the segment, I've not ridden the Xoom 160 just yet, but that will happen pretty soon. So again, make sure that you're subscribed to our channel. But I have ridden the Aerox 155, and that one, yes, it feels a little more engaging. It feels faster. It feels a little more fun. But then I've lived with that scooter for about a week or so, and after a little while, it just becomes a little bit too much. It's not as comfortable as this could potentially be. And even the instrument cluster on this one is a lot better. So I would actually pick this over the Aerox because it is more usable in everyday riding. The Xoom, well, I'll have to ride the scooter before I find out the answer if that is better than this or not. And just a quick word on the design. Well, because TVS has used the same 125 Ntorq platform, they have been limited by a lot of things in terms of the dimensions, in terms of the wheels that they've provided, but they could experiment with the design of the front apron, changing the headlamp and tail lamp, and I really like that. I do like that it looks nice, it looks modern, it looks aggressive, and it looks kind of different. I like how the scooter looks overall. The color schemes are also very nice. I'm not sure if this color would survive long months of, rains and all. So that is something we'll have to see, because this feels like it might maybe fade, but that's something we'll have to see later on. But overall, I really like how this looks despite not having the bigger wheels. Yes, bigger wheels would have made it look even more imposing, but I still think this looks quite good. The dimensions, like I said, are more or less the same. So if you have any issues riding the 125, you'll have the same with this one also. If you don't, then this one will also feel quite nice at home that ways. So what do I think of the Ntorq 150 as a whole package? Do I like it? Well, no. But that's only because I absolutely love this. Before I rode the scooter, I had a feeling, sometimes you get these feelings after you ride a lot of two-wheelers and cars, you get a feeling that certain products have a promise and they might deliver, and this has turned out to be one of those products which has delivered. It's quite fast, quite fun, and most of all, it's very comfortable and well made, and that's something you expect from TVS, and they have delivered on that. I really like how refined the engine is, how it looks, and how comfortable it is to ride despite being a fast-paced, performance-oriented scooter. TVS has kept the pricing of the Ntorq 150 rather enticing too. The introductory starting price for the scooter is 1.19 lakh, while the TFT model that we rode costs 1.29 lakh, ex-showroom of course. Considering that its main rivals are closer to 1.5 lakh rupees and a little bit more, TVS has actually managed to undercut the competition, at least for now. Yes, the Ntorq 150 is down on power, but not by that much. So those were my first thoughts on the TVS Ntorq 150 from this brief ride experience. I will be waiting to get this out in Delhi and test it against the city roads. Till then, I would request you once again to subscribe to our channel so that you know when that video comes out, when we get this scooter. And if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button and comment down below if you have any questions or queries about this scooter. I will see you again in the next one. Bye bye.